a stream of living culture. So this is the beginning of Gearing's metaphor. Let us liken Christianity to a river and see it as a stream of living culture flowing through the plains of time. As it flows onward, it gathers new material from the banks it passes between. Sometimes objects may crystallise within it. Sometimes it leaves these objects on the bank, together with various sediments that it has been carrying along. There is a tendency for people to regard the more visible objects in the Christian cultural stream, such as beliefs, creeds, institutions, and even the Bible, as being the essence of the stream. Yet none of them has the permanence of the stream which carries them along. If we begin to perceive Christianity in this way, we get a very different read on our history. We begin to see how culture and religion have never existed in isolation, but have shaped each other throughout time and will continue to shape each other into the future. The Christian cultural stream goes back a long way. In fact, it's hard to say just what the source of the Christian stream is. Because while we might want to claim Judaism as the source, Judaism itself is a great river also stretching back a great distance. Just like Christianity, Judaism has also been shaped by other cultures and, believe it or not, other religions. For example, ideas about the resurrection and a final judgment at the end of time do not begin in Judaism. Those ideas appear to originate in the religion scholars call Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism was a religion found throughout Persia from around the 6th century BCE. While the Hebrew Bible speaks of conflicts between the Jewish people and other tribal groupings, and particularly of the conflicts between the God of Israel and the other false gods, I say that because that's the way it talks about those relationships, it does not acknowledge the aspects of other religions that actually slowly found their way into the Jewish belief system, like those ideas of the resurrection and the afterlife. Those ideas came in from somewhere else, there was influence, they were drawn in, and eventually they became a major part of that new, other religion. The metaphor of the river allows us to acknowledge that great bodies of water are fed by numerous small streams. The influence of Zoroastrianism fed into the river of Judaism, which in turn flowed into not only the river of Christianity, but also the river of Islam. I pick out that particular influence, the Zoroastrian influence, because apocalyptic thoughts still bubble up in Western culture all the time, typically with little awareness of how those particular thoughts really have, where they've come from and how they've come to be part of our cultural zeitgeist, part of our collective cultural consciousness, if you will. Now pay attention, because we're about to disappear down another rabbit hole. Zombies. I love a good zombie, as some of you know. I assure you, I am not alone in this. I might be alone in this congregation, but I'm certainly not alone in the broader world. In popular culture, there is something of a zombie renaissance taking place, as this next picture clearly proves. Real book, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I think the ratio is something like 75% actual Pride and Prejudice and with sort of 25% of zombies injected into it. It's a bizarre read, but there you go, it's a real thing. Now what you might not realise is that zombie literature, films, TV programs, etc. are not actually about zombies. Most of you might think that, but that's not what they're about at all. They're actually about the people confronted by zombies. So the story is actually about regular human beings who are placed in this bizarre context. One of the biggest sort of zombie hits at the moment, or of the last few years anyway, is a television show called The Walking Dead. Began as a what again, I used this term last time, what I would call a graphic novel, and what the rest of you would probably call a comic book. So comic books is where that comes from, but it's now been turned into a multi-million-dollar television production. The final episode of that actually is tonight at 9:30, so you can possibly get home in time to catch some of it if you'd like to. Now, while it might be a zombie television series, it's really a soap opera about the people surviving the zombie onslaught. And yes, that is actually a slight dig at the acting ability of some of the cast. There are a handful of really good actors in this TV series, and then there are a handful of really awful actors. Fortunately, the awful ones tend to get killed off relatively quickly, but so it is getting better slowly. But anyway, here's a wee taste.
That can't be it. Got no Steve, no bells. Rick.
Not unlike an 8 o'clock service at the cathedral. I'm joking. Interestingly, this series and lots of these sorts of fantasy or science fiction TV programs are actually, and this is where it gets slightly more interesting, I'm only going to pursue this for a little while, but it actually is a vehicle for Hollywood to talk about spirituality. By placing people in a fantastic situation, suddenly they're able to wrestle with ideas of faith and belief and meaning and all of these existential questions because it's this fictional context and it sort of makes it okay. If you just made a serious drama series and tried to inject these sorts of ideas, actually typically people will turn off because people poo-poo it. It's not what they want in their regular drama. But in this world, there's still a lot of exploration. So in this particular series, of course, there are these questions of what role does religion play in a world that's, really gone to the dogs? And so we've got a wee clip of some of that.